And welcome into the Monday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this rainy Monday morning. Presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, happy Monday. How's it going? What's going on?
How's it going? Just want to, even though I don't necessarily acknowledge the existence of this sport, I just want to say three scores real quick. Detroit Tigers 4, Chicago White Sox 3. Detroit Tigers 4, Chicago White Sox 1. Detroit Tigers 5, Chicago White Sox 4 in 10 innings. That's a sweep from the Detroit Tigers of the Chicago White Sox, who suck, by the way. In case anybody wondered, the White Sox suck, and it's a beautiful Monday morning.
Anybody in that matchup scored more than 5 runs at any point?
Now
get the offense flowing.
Yeah, the Tigers are. Yeah, if they don't pitch their brains out there,
they're just not going to win.
They're probably not going to win. Yeah, so they still stink.
How about that though? Nice weekend for you taking down Chicago White Sox. I feel like that's a good Father's Day present to you from the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of a nice Father's Day present. So thanks, Tigers. Probably still need to, unload Terry Skubal for a big haul, but now. 7.5 out, probably 4 out of the wild card. This is where front office is, it gets a little bit interesting. We'll see.
Just need to go on a run. Put down about 15 in the next 18,
Well, then
if
that's the case, then I'll be like, all right, whatever. Let's just keep Skubal. Go win the whole darn thing.
Ian, how we doing? Happy Monday morning to you.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Doing just fine, thanks. Made it in before the rain, so did good there. But yeah, had a birthday party. We had someone turn 7 on Saturday.
Nice.
We had the Father's Day yesterday. So it was a fun, beautiful weekend, beautiful weather, warm, out by the pool, all the fun stuff. So it's a good weekend. Thanks. Happy Monday, everybody.
I've already told you to this, but I got kind of a customizable book for my 2.5-year-old.
Which is a cool
for
gift,
Father's Day.
by
Yeah.
the way.
So basically her mom just sat there and asked her questions, and whatever her answer was, it went in the categories. And one of them, I guess, was who are some people that Daddy helps? So the top 5 people that I help, it's my wife, her, a couple members of my family, and at number 5, Joe Rexrode was the answer from Allison Stanley. So Joe made the top 5 of people that I help, according to the 2.5-year-old.
I'm honored, and she's a smart kid. She's a smart kid.
Is.
She listened to the show and said, my goodness, help this dude. Hey, Dad, help the dude.
I did open that part of the book and legitimately started laughing just out loud. I was like, oh, boy.
Oh,
you got to send this one to Joe and Ian later.
That is beautiful. That is
good
beautiful
stuff there.
Well, we did a food crawl for Father's Day. That was my. So I will say, because there's no free ad, so I won't, I'm not going to give a free ad, but I will say that there is a place in East Nashville with sandwiches that it originated in New Orleans, and it's the best po' boy I've had. And let me tell you something. I've had a many a po' boy. Katie and I split a catfish po' boy yesterday, and I was like, this sauce, it's like the French dude at Buc-ee's. Is there methamphetamine in this sauce?
Yes.
I need to know. But, man, I wish I could tell you what it was. But I'll say it was a nice food crawl. It was nice to get a teenage child hanging out with Dad.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No,
it's not easy when you get that age.
Not easy. And look, to that establishment, we are open to you doing some business here if you want to. Then we can give you some.
Yeah, if you're listening
and
you know what I'm saying, I'd be interested to know if anybody hears what my little description here and can come up with the name, on the text line. But if you're listening, I will gladly endorse and eat. They have this sweet potato waffle fry salad with Thai peanut sauce. This stuff is. Oh, jeez.
We got a lot going on the program today. Cory Curtis from News 2 will have his weekly visit coming up at 8 o'clock on the program. You can strike one Nashville Predators potential trade target off the board with a move that was made yesterday. But I do think that signals that we are getting ready to get into a very interesting NHL offseason. And we've been talking about that, but it's already starting. So we will get into that a little bit later in the show. A big deal with the Tennessee Titans that somebody may or may not have brought up last week. We will get into
Yes.
Here in just a few minutes on the program today as well. Someone who is a friend of the show, big time fan, very high on Cam Ward, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the program as well. Joe, I do want to get your thoughts before we get into the Jeffery Simmons contract, which I'm sure is not news to anyone at this point since it happened on Friday. But the Jeffery Simmons new contract, before we get into that, what did you make of Team USA's win against Australia on Friday in the World Cup?
Yeah, man, that was awesome. And, no Pulisic. And still, I just thought, especially the first half was just dazzling, It was like the offensive charges they put together. It was a lot of fun. It seemed like the crowd was unbelievable there in Seattle. And, the second half got a little dicey. That happens a lot in any sport, right? You get a lead and you're kind of like, you just don't want to blow the lead. You don't want to let them get that one goal to put pressure on you and stuff like that. I just thought Australia kind of, took the play to them more, but they were able to keep it together. And, then so you win the group. What? I think it's the first time the U.S. has won the first 2 games since 1930. So there's a whole bunch of since 1930, which is the first World Cup. So they can rest because you really need to rest all these guys who have yellow cards.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, to me, maybe it depends on the person, I guess, but it's not, it's easy to accidentally run into a yellow card. That can happen, Oh
yeah.
And then you'd be looking at a suspension, right, for the round of 32. So I think they're going to rest a bunch of people. I don't know why you'd play Pulisic this week. I see people arguing about that. I'm like, you can talk about chemistry and all this stuff, but the bottom line is it is a grueling. These games are now going to start coming every 4 days, every 5 days. And so it seems like, and actually I'm kind of glad since it's a late start on, is it Thursday? I think it's a Thursday game.
I believe it is Thursday night.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of nice. And then breakout round, I think probably against either Qatar or Bosnia, which is you're in pretty good shape to get to the 16, I think.
I think so. Yeah. No, it was impressive to watch them do that without Pulisic. And again, like you said, you're talking about 2 matches now that if you've watched in my lifetime, certainly the United States men's team in the World Cup, you're just not really used to this, right? It's just they won 2 in a row. Wow. How about that in the World Cup? And they've looked impressive while doing it, and they've been fun to watch and all those things. So, like you said, you've already advanced to the knockout round, and we'll see where things go from there. But now it is, from a managerial standpoint, you look at it and you say, all right, it's about to come a lot quicker here when it comes to how quickly you're going to have to turn things around moving forward. And I guess that's the thing I forgot about with the World Cup, because it does feel like kind of the group stage takes forever with how many teams there are.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like bang, bang, bang. You start to play after that. And I think the final for the World Cup is July 19th. So, if you think about it in those terms, for the teams that are going to go the distance, and hopefully the U.S. is one of them, but we'll see. But you still got basically a month left in this. So this is it's a long grinding kind of gruel of a tournament here that you gotta find your way to survive, basically, is what it is. You got to find a way to get your body ready for it moving forward.
Right, because the knockout round, I think the U.S. is definitely playing July 1st. I think that's right.
I believe that is correct.
So, like you said, that's July 1st. The championship's July 19th. That's 5 games.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, you would have to win 5 games. So, to me, any rest right now is essential. There's a lot of exciting. Alex Freeman is kind of the breakout star. Of course, his dad, Antonio Freeman, caught touchdowns in the same spot. It was the Kingdom back then in 95 or whatever year he was. But he was. That header after it looked like he might have to leave the game. He's been so much fun to watch. Obviously, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, a midfielder, is kind of like the team leader. And then, of course, Balogun, the guy, the break. He's lightning out there. And then, it'll probably be, I could be wrong, but I think it'll probably be the knockout round before we see Pulisic back with him, and it's like, man, that's actually kind of dangerous. Now, look, I don't we had at the Athletic, like all our soccer guys was like, okay, is it realistic for them to actually win this thing? And everybody was like, if they make the round of 8, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, and I can't speak to that. I think anybody who watches soccer closely would say like France, Spain, Germany, like they're just way more loaded. But I still watch this team and I'm like, I don't know, man. It seems like they should be able to be dangerous and have offensive chances against anyone,
You would think.
And soccer can get weird,
It can.
Soccer can get weird. You can get into obviously a 1-0 game,
Yeah,
and put a lot of pressure on a favorite.
Congratulations to Wyndham Clark for winning his second U.S. Open. I will say this, it was hilarious to watch the final round yesterday. He came into it with I think, what was he, 6-shot lead? I think he had a 6-shot lead over Scheffler heading into it yesterday. And about through 9 holes, he looked back, and like Sam Burns was 1 back, and Scheffler was like 3 or 4 back. And the entire crowd, everybody on hand at this place, was basically like booing him. Like he just would take a shot, he'd get booed, his ball would travel off the green, and everybody would cheer. And I'm like, geez, this dude's American. And all these New Yorkers out here are just all over him going for Scheffler. Which I kind of appreciate.
So that's what it was? Because I heard about people booing him and stuff. I'm like, man, but it's because they want
Well,
Scheffler.
they wanted Scheffler to win. I mean, Scheffler was going for the career slam, which doesn't happen a whole lot. And this dude last year basically got eliminated from the U.S. Open and tore up the locker room in there. Yeah, he's kind of So
anyway, like Axl Rose of golf.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he's an all right guy, but it was not a great moment from him last year. But I've never seen in a Ryder Cup setting somebody just getting booed out there. I was like, is this golf? What's going on?
That's funny. Wild. Yeah. And then what?
Even Scheffler in the press conference was like, yeah, I don't know that I've seen that before. That was kind of weird. I appreciate the support, though.
It's like a Happy Gilmore crowd out there. I got the beer things. Yeah.
It was wild, but he won. So he got the last laugh in the end.
I guess so. By the way, shout out to Joey from Bellevue. Immediately got the place right.
Yeah.
Good job, Joey.
Nice. Very nicely done. We got a lot going on in the program today. We will get into the Jeffery Simmons deal coming up next for the Tennessee Titans. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. You know, we were discussing the Jeffery Simmons press conference last weekend, and one of the things we talked about was, boy, he sure did seem pretty calm when asked about this contract, right? It's like, man, he just, he's up there, hey, I'm not worried about the contract, and this organization's always been really good to me. And I remember one of the things I said was, you don't really see players handle this that way all that much when they're in the middle of like a contract negotiation. They're usually not overly willing to be, complimentary of the team they're negotiating with. And usually there's some level of negotiation tactic that's going on here that makes me think, are the Jeffery Simmons and the Titans pretty close to a deal here? Well, it turns out they were, and they have signed Jeffery Simmons to a 3-year extension with more than $100 million guaranteed on this thing here. So, Joe, first off, no wonder he's in such a good mood last week. Good stuff from Jeffery Simmons. He is secured through 2030 here now with the Tennessee Titans, and Jeffery Simmons lands a big deal, the biggest deal for a defensive tackle in the history of the game for Jeffery Simmons. And this came out on Friday. So what do you make of that? The Jeffery Simmons contract extension with the Tennessee Titans.
Well, yeah, good instincts by you. Do you think they actually had it done by then? Was it like done? Just maybe he hadn't dotted the I yet.
Maybe
Simmons.
I mean, he was awfully happy. He's like, I love this place. These guys have treated me really well. I'm not going to get into some contract spat up here. It's just not going to happen.
I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I have a feeling it's going to work out. Something tells me everything's going to work out all right. Yeah. So good call on your part, and I think good call on the Titans' part. The whole highest paid, whenever there's like a new highest paid whatever position, then there's always gonna be, how could Aaron Donald? It's like, well, yeah. And there will be someone who's not as good as Jeffery Simmons,
yep,
who also at some point will sign the richest deal ever, and on and on and on.
Yep.
So
it's about the timing.
Yes. And no, I think like we talked about last week too, it's like, you do this now, and you put away because next offseason would be when when maybe there'd be a little bit of like, a little bit of whatever, different feel, different vibe with the presser, maybe a little hold in, hold out, whatever. And also maybe your cost goes up because, again, he may be on the verge of a monster season here.
Yeah.
After what he did last year, and then you hear him talk about this defense and how it's different for him, and you hear Saleh and his plans for him, and you could definitely see him having a big year, and then another year of cap going up and all that stuff. I mean, I think this is a smart move. It's a lot of money, no doubt, but I think I think that's just about right in terms of he's going to be 29 this season.
Yep.
So try to do math. So he'll be 33 for that final year of the deal, right? And, who knows? 33-year-old Jeffery Simmons, it may look totally different from 28, 29-year-old Jeffery Simmons. But I think, you don't want to get much into the mid-30s with most players. And I think this could end up being perfect. And, of course, just like any deal, if something happens, he gets hurt or whatever, the NFL deals are such that you can, you're fine after a couple of years.
Well, this was what Borgonzi said, quote, Jeffery Simmons is a pillar for our franchise, embodies what it means to be a Titan. He's the premier defensive tackle in the National Football League, and you win with players like Jeffery. Not only is his leadership on the field what we want our program to represent, but off the field, he sets the standard for our community. So, I mean, it is amazing. I was thinking about this yesterday. Go back in time 1 year ago, like 1 year ago from today. And some of the things we were talking about with Jeffery Simmons would be like this. Well, why is he not at OTAs? Or, ever since he signed that contract, he's been good, but he hasn't really been great, right? Like that's a lot of the things we talked about. And he's had some, I hesitate to call them off the field stuff, but it's like, throwing Andrew through the, the side of the wall over there, just maybe not responding the way you want somebody that's like a leader of your franchise to respond. And fast forward to a year later, number one, he played great last year and certainly lived up to the deal and then some with the way that he played. I thought, and we talked about this several times throughout the year, I thought the leadership part of it, he took a pretty meaningful step a year ago. And by the way, a situation that wasn't any easier. I mean, they were bad again last year, but I thought he did a good job of kind of taking a step forward in that area to the point now where this contract extension, I think had they done this a year ago, and this, this alternate reality that I'm presenting, had they done this a year ago, this would be way more controversial than it is. And basically what I've seen from Titans fans is, oh, Jeffery Simmons got this big contract extension. Great. Awesome. Let's keep him around as long as possible.
Yeah, it is funny to look back. It wasn't that long ago. And he did. And there were real, I think, concerns. Look, I enjoyed when he gave Andrew a wedgie and then signed the boxers,
I did too.
At the camp. That was a great trick. But yeah, he did. He handled some things poorly. Being on social media too much, some of that stuff. Getting all, worked up when people didn't. Who was the signing they had? Oh my goodness, who was just way over the hill, and it was like, whoa, what a signing! Jamal Adams.
Yes,
How could
Jamal
you not
Adams.
be excited about this incredible signing? Stuff like that. It's just like, get off social media.
Titans legend.
Yes. It's like, hey, can you play nose guard? You were a good safety, but how about pulling guard? What about that? No, but
how good's your long snapping, Jamal?
But yeah, he just handled some things poorly. Karski will probably come in, and we can ask him this week and still say that he thinks sometimes Simmons, isn't like properly like accountable or whatever, doesn't always have the right messaging after games. I think that's part of what you're talking about. He got better with that.
Yeah.
May not be great, but I've never thought it was like, yes, of course, you want someone in that position always just fall on the sword and say, nope, it's on me. That's it. And sometimes Simmons was pissed that like someone in the back end, gave up a big play that they shouldn't have given up or something. And so, I never thought it was like all that big of a deal. I thought being on the social media and all that stuff was the bigger issue.
Agreed.
So yeah, growing up a little bit, but the bottom line is you have a season like that, and it requires you to change your body, which is not easy, which requires a lot of discipline. And I think it's all pointing to that. And so now, I mean, I think he's obviously Cam Ward it's got to be his team here moving forward. That's the hope. But you're also still waiting to see what he is as a player. So in the meantime, I think Jeff Simmons is as primary a leader as they have.
I think he's as primary of a leader as they have. If he is close to what he was last year, I mean, who knows? Maybe even better than he was last year. You're talking about an elite player. And the deal itself, I mean, the Titans didn't have to do it right now. So that's, I guess, where I would ask, if you're a Titans fan, like, is there any hesitancy? Like, would you like to see him in this Robert Saleh defense go out and do what he did last year again and stay healthy again before you're giving him this next deal? Because, that's probably where the only hesitancy would come from is, all right, does he get through this next year healthy again too? And then you're feeling, pretty good about the body changes and staying healthy and all those things. But, the production on the field last year, you can't argue with. It is what it is.
Yeah. Like, I mean, sure, like, if you're the Titans, it's like, it would have been good to see this one more year, get confirmation. But again, then your price may go up.
Yep.
Your term may go a year later. And also it's just, I mean, then you're going to have to possibly deal with all the stuff that's done now. It's over.
Well, by the way, sometimes you just get it done, as an organization. Like, I think there's a time and place as an organization to try to play the long game and see if you can get the best deal possible for yourself and see what that looks like and all the things. And then every now and then you run across some players who are like, no, let's just go ahead and get this done. And I think Simmons is a good example of that.
It is. No, I think it's smart business. And certainly, again, like, if they're bad this year, people are going to bring up the cap space.
Sure.
But it's when you have it, something like this is a lot easier to do too, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'll be interested to see if anybody has any issue with it. I'd be surprised.
We'll take your thoughts on the Jeffery Simmons deal with the Titans. Is there any hesitancy at all on this deal? Plus, if he is a great player for the next 2, 3, 4 years, where do we think Simmons starts to rank in terms of all-time Tennessee Titans? We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Our football offseason coverage brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works, the official craft beer of football offseason coverage on 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the Jeffery Simmons contract, 615-737-1025. Ryan in Florida says, Big Jeff's a beast, deserves it. Now get him some more help. I don't know how much more help he's going to be getting now in the offseason, but hopefully some organic help, Joe, as I like to call it. Like these guys that you've drafted in the first and second rounds the last couple of years, organically coming in there, helping. John Franklin Myers, who you've already signed. I mean, look, frankly, there is a scenario this year where you look around on the Titans defense and Big Jeff's got a lot of help. If things break their way, he could have a lot of help out there.
Yeah,
He's
got a coach who knows a thing or two about defense, and I think Franklin Myers is going to be a really good help. Yeah, the edge, like how much help is he getting on the edge? That is probably the biggest question about the defense. One of the biggest questions about the team. But I feel like the linebacking has a chance to be pretty good, and secondary solid. I mean, I'm
stay healthy on the
TD
secondary.
Talking about Kevin Winston.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if that's true, I know they're talking about Tony Adams too, and like there's trying to get him involved. But I mean, if TD's right about Winston, that's that all of that also helps Amani Hooker look better too, play better.
Jay in Clarksville says the Titans have to pay the money to somebody. A worthy left tackle isn't going to just fall from the sky. So it might as well go to somebody who's produced and has potential to produce in the next few years. Also, it shows other players that you may be trying to get in free agency that were not cheapskates and that will pay you for production. That's from Jay in Clarksville.
Yeah, I saw. I think it was A to Z had something. I saw this should blow up the narrative that the Titans are cheap. I mean, look, yeah, I think this is an obvious move, and I don't think this is like some. I understand. And agents love it. Highest paid defensive tackle of all time. So you could look at that and say, see, but I also think that this is not some outrageous overpay to me. He happens to be top of the market. It's his turn. So the cheapskate thing. I mean, you're not gonna like whatever you think of it. If you want to put it all on personality or how he acted during the time, you can if you want. It was a huge mistake. The A.J. Brown thing, that's where something like that comes in. Because the bottom line is if they had been willing to pay him what was absolutely was warranted to pay him, then he wouldn't have had all that crap that was going on, right? You wouldn't have had the Instagram thing with Deebo Samuel's mom or what, if you just pay him and go ahead and realize what you have. So is that more of a misunderstanding of what they had, or is it just cheapness? I don't know, but that's where something like that comes in, right? I mean, I've never thought the Titans, the only franchise in the NFL that I think really has that reputation is Cincinnati Bengals, and I think they've earned it. Like when you make your coaches be your scouts in the offseason, like that's tremendous. Yeah,
like I don't think the Titans are cheap. I think you've got one situation with A.J. Brown that they totally mismanaged, and frankly, since then, I mean. Not very many, right? I mean, this guy's one of them, so he's gotten his money. But
they paid Lewan when it was it was time to pay Lewan.
They might pay Skoronski.
Yeah, like I don't think that this has been some chronically cheap organization when it comes to player contracts. I just don't think they've had very many good players, right?
Like you could look back on what turned out to be a good move. They decided not to pay Corey Davis.
Yeah,
they decided to let him walk. Yeah, and the Jets did pay him, and there you go. There's the New York Jets for you. I mean, but it was debatable. Like we were debating at the time. I mean, you could have made the case. Derrick Henry, again, that's not right. That's not.
And even then, you're talking about a running back. Like it's just not the same.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. And when the Titans did pay him, by the way, there are people around the league, including Mr. Wedgie over there. I think we'll start calling him that. Who was like, "How could you pay a running back?" Like,
I love that.
Maybe watch football. Yeah. Good thing they paid him.
JC and Ghostsville wondering if Big Jeff is past Rexrode in salary. No, he's got to sign about two more deals before he's going to pass Rexrode.
It kind of depends on if you're counting endorsements and stuff, and plus like my Swiss bank accounts. The math gets a little hazy. It's close.
I mean, there's a reason that the red PT Cruiser stopped by Rexrode's car. It wasn't random. He's like, look at this guy.
Oh, he screams money.
Yeah,
right. He thought I had like the Pulp Fiction briefcase where you open up like, no.
There's just money falling from the sky around Rexrode.
Yeah. So it's a good question. Good question. It's getting there.
I actually thought Derek Mason on DVD made a pretty good point on Friday. How much does the defensive rotation under Saleh, would Jeff have been unhappy? If the rotation played out and Simmons.
And he hadn't been signed?
and he plays in the rotation, and he's not playing as much as he had originally thought or hoped.
Yeah.
Does this help,
Ease that.
calm down any negative feelings towards the rotation?
That's a good point because obviously you're still working to get that last deal. That's what this is, right? This is your last bite at the apple. It's a big one, but yeah, like if you are doing that and then you're not now, if you're doing that and you get 12 sacks, then it's like, hey, it was smart, it worked, everybody wins. But yeah, I mean, if you're sitting there on the sideline not making some plays that you would be making otherwise, and then you're not ended up with the sack total, and it's like, oh, so now this is going to actually hurt me. Yeah, that's a good point.
We've been talking a lot about the rotation, what that does for Simmons. He's the best player. How much less is he going to play? Now he doesn't have to worry about it. Oh, I'm only playing this amount. Doesn't really have to get upset that it's going to affect his next contract.
He wants to. I mean, I know that he's a type of guy who also wants to go out this year and prove to everybody I'm the highest paid because I'm the best.
Yes.
And so he's still going to be driven to produce and have those opportunities. But yeah, it's like at least this part of it's taken care of now. So, maybe think about how maybe you're more productive later because you cut down the workload now.
All right. So let's play this out. Let's say that Simmons over the next 2 or 3 years, and because I think it's hard to go beyond that in these type of discussions, but let's say for the next 3 years, Jeffery Simmons is basically what he was last year. Maybe in some years a little bit better, maybe in some years a little bit worse, but he's in the same neighborhood of the player that he was last year. When you start talking about Tennessee Titans, how high up the list of like all-time Titans players do we think he can get? Because I think everybody who has watched this team since they've moved to Nashville would agree, probably should agree, that there are basically 3 absolute pillars of the franchise since they've been in Nashville. And that would be McNair, George, and Derrick Henry. Like, those are your 3. And there are a couple other guys that are close that you could throw in there. Like, you could talk about Chris Johnson. It was a short-term thing, but it was pretty good at its highest level. There are a couple defensive guys you could throw in there. Bullock. Right? I mean, you could throw Byard in there. Like, there are a couple guys.
Curse,
you could throw in there. Curse. Like, yeah. But I think pretty much everybody would agree when you're talking about Tennessee Titans. I'm not interested in Oilers. Tennessee Titans pillars to this point. It's McNair, Eddie George, and Derrick Henry in whatever order you want to put those guys in. Like, how if Simmons is that level of player for the next 3 years that he was last year, what are we talking about at that point in terms of franchise kind of icon since they've been in Nashville? Knowing that it's also defensive tackle, which is I think more difficult than obviously a quarterback or a running back who has the ball scoring touchdowns.
It's a good question. I think a big part of the answer is do they have any team success while he does this? Because there is a limitation to being like the great player on the terrible team. And, Delaney Walker was that here before they got good again, but I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, if he plays like this, and again, you'd think they'd cycle up to some kind of level of competitiveness, then yeah, there's your Mount Rushmore. Let's do a June Mount Rushmore of Titans era. That would be it. I would say I would be interested. I think some people who obviously love those Super Bowl teams, because Ian said it, and I think Curse is, because that rookie year was such a big part of that team going from, like, they'd been an 8-8 kind of team. Like, that was a huge part of them, along with a lot of other great players, getting so close to winning a championship. And that's just that impact. And he had other good years too, but that impact by him, someone I could see making the argument still for like him over a Simmons if we're going to rank them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Jeff was the centerpiece of really in 21 of them getting that 1 seed. That defense in the pass rush was like, that was the best part of the team.
Yeah.
They lost Derrick Henry and, big part of, kind of late in the season, he was part of that resurgence too in 19 when he finally was able to get on the field. So he's had his hand in a lot of successful football too. It's just been a while now.
It's a hard comparison to make just because, especially like in McNair's case, you're talking about he won co-MVP of the league. And Jeffrey Simmons is not going to do that. Defensive tackle is not going to win MVP of the league. Derrick Henry, you're talking about, it felt like every game as his career went on, you looked at a list and it was like, wow. So Jim Brown and Barry Sanders and like all these all-time great players. So it's a very difficult comparison to make. I don't really know that there's anything he's going to be able to do, maybe other than like being the best player on the team that wins the Super Bowl, to elevate himself into like that status. But I mean, if you start to look at players that are exclusively like Tennessee Titans era players, and if he's what he was this past season for the next 3 years, I mean, they really haven't had a whole lot of players like that when you really get down to it. So like, he's already probably higher than people would think on the list. I just wonder if he gets, the 3 years in him at this type of level, what we end up talking about with Jeffery Simmons. I mean, I think at that point, you're probably definitely talking about Joe, like a ring of honor player for the Tennessee Titans. And he may be, knocking on the door of that anyway, but
No
I think
question.
you're definitely in that type of neighborhood if it continues this way for the next few years.
Yeah, I think you have to be. I do think of like Ndamukong Suh for a few years in this league. Well, at that position was, I think one of the most effective, dominant players in the league. Like Aaron Donald, Simmons is not going to have a 20.5 sack season. Like Aaron Donald was a freak at that position. That's,
he's one of the greatest players ever.
Yeah. And it's just like, I mean, that's just not Simmons, but like you look at Chris Jones, right now, and a guy like that. It's funny because Chris Jones also, by the way, has been an incredible player, but talk about being overshadowed in your own franchise, by the other side of the ball. But no, I mean, if he's got more of last year in him, and then you start looking at the whole thing and add up together, yeah, it's not easy to have. We're talking about a 10-year plus career. Like I'm looking at Donald's career right now. Now, of course, where is he coming back? Is he definitely coming back?
I don't know.
What's the deal with that? So he had 10 seasons, 10 unbelievable seasons with 111 sacks and all that stuff. Simmons if he plays out this contract, he's going past 10 years. That's not easy to do in this league at that position.
Nope.
At that level of play, if it's that or close to it for the next few years, that's pretty special.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More your reaction to get to on the Jeffery Simmons front. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Ian bringing a little corn back. I don't know if we need to have a corn day here on the show, but it's heavy stuff.
It is. Yeah, they kind of rock it out, man.
Would you rather have a corn day or a Maroon 5 day?
We were having a discussion during the break about Marilyn Manson and corn. We were watching Charmed, of course. And so, yeah, a little corn coming back, a little old school here.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, yeah, I'll take a corn day over Maroon 5. I'll take, eating raw corn over listening to Maroon 5.
A lot of conversation on my personal text line about how much people enjoy just listening to you freak out about bands.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
I think we might need to do it more.
Sometimes I'm like, wow, maybe I need to shut up a little bit, huh?
I would just love to know how many times Joe has ripped a musical act that has been like driving down the road in our city, Music City.
I know.
It's listening to the show. And it's just catching strays. It's like, wow, what'd I do? I'm just in the car.
That's true. But then you also hope that like somebody from Men Without Hats is driving around when I say how much I love them,
It's true.
Like there's love given too.
It's true.
But yes, I actually like the thought of Scott Stapp, who mispronounced my name, just randomly tuning in, and him like
allegedly
butchering,
not on purpose.
Yeah, butchering that name because he actually has heard every single time that we've ripped him. Not that I've ripped
Again,
him.
You keep throwing the we.
I know.
There's no
I
we.
know.
Just one person on this show. Just one.
Yeah.
Taking your thoughts on Jeffery Simmons at 615-737-1025. Again, I think when, throwing this question out there, if he plays at this level for the next 3 years, how high up the franchise list of great Titans is he going to be? I say it again, I think it's going to be really hard to pass McNair and Derrick Henry. And some of that's just because, those guys are touching the ball, scoring touchdowns, right? And Jeffery Simmons has scored some touchdowns. Probably not going to make his living scoring touchdowns for the Tennessee Titans over the next few years. So it's different in that way anyway. But I think if he's what he was this past year, that's a heck of a disruptive force. He played great this last year. And now that you've got Franklin Myers with him, you hope some of these edge rushers come in. I'm excited to see what he can do in this defense here. And I know some people, when these big deals get signed, we'll have fans text in that are worried about all right, well, he's got the big contract now. So is he going to approach it the same? I think we've seen enough of Jeffery Simmons at this point to feel comfortable about the approach that Simmons is going to have. I'm not worried about Simmons getting the money and then just being like, all right, well, I got it. So who really cares anymore?
Yeah,
I think that has happened before in professional sports.
Sure.
Simmons is not that guy.
No. The thing about Simmons that I've always said is the guy desperately wants to win and compete, and he's he plays on the edge, man, and that's never changed. And he's been paid. He's already been paid. He got his second deal, and sure, maybe at that point you could have said to him, well, you could get another one, but that's getting paid. He already got paid. This is the reward for not being like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what this is. This tells you how he reacts to being paid. So no, I like I said earlier, he is going to want to prove to everybody this year that he deserved this, and he'll probably find the one Titans fan on the internet. Although I don't spend too much time with this, Jeff, but he'll find someone who said he shouldn't have been paid, and then he'll put that person's face in his locker.
Yeah. Exactly.
And look at it every day. Hopefully it's Kaharski. Hopefully Kaharski rips the deal on Wednesday, and then he's got an easy target all year.
That would be an easy target. It'd be awesome. I need to ask PK. Is PK blocked by Simmons? Do we know? Does Simmons follow PK? I'm not on Twitter anymore, so I couldn't tell you. But I need to get to the bottom of this. I would have to think the list of Titans players over the years that have blocked PK is relatively substantial.
Yeah,
not just Dion Lewis.
Well, especially because he used to, which I absolutely shamed him out of. I'm like, this is embarrassing.
Oh, tagging people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, looks like
Bishop Sankey fumbled again.
It's
At Bishop Sankey fumbled. Thanks, Paul. Like, seriously, he would sit there all game and he would tag them on all his tweets. It's like, dude,
On
no
one
one
level?
wants like it, and it was like tiny little like play-by-play,
Yeah.
you know? It's like Tajay Sharp dropped a pass.
And that was at the time when it actually was Tajay Sharp and not Tajay
Yes,
Spears.
I almost said Spears. Yeah. And he would like the whole game, he would tweet about the game and he would tag everybody in. So there might be someone who was like tagged like 8 times in his stupid play-by-play. I'm like, Paul, I understand you think it's like, oh, you need to be accountable to these people. No one wants this. Don't ever do it again. And finally, he kind of sunset. He tried to defend himself, and he sunsetted out of doing it. So, God, what a clown.
You remember the time where he was like, if you're not in the same like zip code, stop tweeting about the game and all that stuff? Good luck with that.
Let's not get that going again.
Good luck with that. I mean, there's a whole manner of things we could bring up on Wednesday to get him reignited.
Well, since we're speaking about him, Chris on the YouTube chat on the music says we need a Rush day for PK, which totally made me forget that he actually said that Bush is better than Rush. Did he not? He actually said that.
I think I recall that. Yes,
he said Bush is better than Rush. I mean, just let that sink in. Society, let that sink in. Like one
even
thinks
for me,
that.
that's a little bit spicy.
Yeah, exactly. Like Rush, like their prime was well before you were born.
Yeah.
But you can recognize like they're good.
Good.
And Bush, I mean, come on.
Trevor says Alante Taylor 1,000% blocked PK after that one press conference asking about him giving up touchdowns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Hey,
maybe.
Alante, have you ever covered anyone? Ever? How'd you get this money?
Now I'm trying.
I can't wait till the first touchdown he gives up this year. PK be like,
What are we doing? All this guy does is give up touchdowns.
Touchdown, Taylor. So there's no way to check though, right?
no, man. Like
there's no way to
have to be a kind of a self-policing
like
thing that he would do.
Kaharski has to check for us.
Yeah.
That's too bad. They should add that to Twitter. It's a total cesspool anyway. Let us see who everybody's blocked.
That'd be good. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A move in the National Hockey League yesterday that we've been talking about here on the show as a potential target for the Preds. Well, you can strike that one off the list. We'll get into that coming up next as I mute myself. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Get thicker grass, better color, and fewer bare spots with turf application. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Cory Curtis from News 2 will be with us to begin the 8 o'clock hour. For his weekly visit, we'll get back into the Jeffery Simmons discussion, all things Tennessee Titans, with him. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, a move that we have been talking about for a few weeks on the program as a potential move to keep an eye on if you're the Nashville Predators. You know, the Brady Tkachuk saga in Ottawa. It was going to be interesting to see how that one came to an end. I think there was a lot of noise up there in Ottawa about, all right, does this guy actually want to be here? Is he going to basically force his way out at some point, like his brother did in Calgary when he got traded to the Florida Panthers? And, you know, earlier, you know, just a few weeks ago, Joe, we talked about the idea of, all right, well, I don't know that it's necessarily going to happen this offseason, but the Brady Tkachuk situation, something to keep an eye on over the next year or two here. I think he's got 2 years left on his deal. So fast forward a couple weeks, and it's done. Brady Tkachuk has traded from the Ottawa Senators to the Florida Panthers. He will join his brother down in Florida. Ottawa gets back the number 9 and number 25 picks in this year's NHL draft in the first round, and a first-round pick in 2029 that is top 10 protected. They also get a second-round pick in the 27 draft. So in total, 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick from Florida to Ottawa, and the Tkachuk brothers are now together down there with the Florida Panthers. Joe, your thoughts on this move and Brady Tkachuk going from Ottawa to Florida?
Well, everybody can really hate the Florida Panthers now. Yeah, it's a great to me. I mean, I understand, you know, it's a high price, but that's pretty great for the Panthers. I know I saw our guy, oh my gosh, who covers the Wild, who said they basically threw
Russo.
Yeah, thank you. So what is wrong with me? Michael Russo threw the kitchen sink. You know, that would have been nice for Johnny Hines.
Yeah, would have
find a way to get Brady Tkachuk. I know my Red Wings fans in my text group are like, this is exactly who we needed, you know. But it kind of, I mean, it's going to be hard to overcome the possibility of playing with your brother, right? It almost seems like he just basically was like, this is what it was going to be.
This is so there's a lot in this. Okay. So number one, I mean, this is not a difficult thing to read, right? Like, it's pretty clear he didn't want to play in Ottawa, and that's led to a lot of the
even though Vinkin put out the video of him, I am committed.
Yeah.
I hate hearing this stuff, and
it's pretty clear. And I don't know that he necessarily wanted was asking for a trade right now. I mean, he still had 2 years left on his deal. Well, like, he wasn't going to re-sign in Ottawa. I mean, that's pretty clear. So that's the first part of this. I think the second thing that's pretty interesting, and I heard Elliot Friedman talking about this. It's a big talking point around the NHL right now. Like, there's this Team USA Olympic hockey, basically group chat where some of it's gotten out a little bit of like players that aren't happy in their situations and want it out. And just think about it for a second. Like, Quinn Hughes got out of Vancouver, ended up in Minnesota. Larkin is demanding a trade from Detroit. You've got Tkachuk that's now been traded from Ottawa. And I mean, Friedman has said that there's more. Like, there are more guys that want to leave where they're at. So, like,
we win a gold, I can do whatever I want.
Like,
now.
There's a lot of speculation as to what that means. Like, a lot of people are looking at Werenski in Columbus, who just won the Norris Trophy. He's like, well, is he a guy? So Matthews, obviously, in Toronto. So that's a kind of an interesting sidebar of all this. Is like the Team USA, like, are they all moving? And like we've talked about the player empowerment in the NHL. Like, it's changing. Like, they're realizing, if I don't like my situation, I will force my way out. And it's happening more and more in the NHL. The other part, it has been reported, Friedman put it out there, that it was Florida, Vegas, Carolina, and Minnesota were the 4 teams that Tkachuk was pointing to. And I think reading the tea leaves, it was like, get me to Florida. And, your other teams involved, like if you can't get that deal done. But it's clear he wanted to be in Florida. And it makes sense why, with his brother being down there and how good they are. But those are apparently the 4 teams: Florida, Vegas, Carolina, and Minnesota.
Yeah. It's kind of like Jack Eichel said. I mean, people don't put the Golden Knights on their no trade.
They don't.
They include them. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're the Senators, you need other teams involved. It's like doing a solid to them. Like we need other teams involved so we can try to get more out of the Panthers.
Yeah.
But
apparently the Senators were really trying to make a push for some roster players on Florida, but with Tkachuk having the no move, Florida was basically like, nope, not doing it. This is what you're going to get. And that's how.
There you go.
That's going back to the player empowerment part of it. When you've got a big say in it, you can basically kind of force your hand on where you're going.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, Ottawa, it's just, it's tough. Like, it's like, when are you ever going to have like something that you can hold on to? But also, like, he's not a franchise player. Like,
no, he's really good.
Yeah, it's perfect for Florida. I mean, my gosh,
yeah,
he can slide in there and just
he's not,
no pressure.
He's not their best player, and he doesn't have to be.
Yeah, but you do feel for Ottawa a little bit, unless you just hate all Canadian teams.
Well, Ottawa, they're gonna be aggressive this offseason. They've got Jake Sanderson and Tim, and not to get too deep in the Ottawa Senators because I know people don't care, but like they've got Jake Sanderson, they've got Tim Stützle under contract, so they're going to age really well. They just loaded up on picks. Like, I'd probably keep an eye on them when it comes to offer sheets. Like, you've got all this ammunition now to try one if you want one. So I'd keep an eye on them for that. Like, I got people asking about the Predators part of this. Like, why couldn't the Predators have gotten involved in this, or why weren't the Predators on his list? I mean, I would say this. If this trade happens a year from now or 2 years from now, maybe it's different, right? Like maybe he ends up there closer on his list. I mean, right now, if you're Brady Tkachuk looking at it, you're like, well, Nashville's not close to winning right now. Like it's pretty cut and dry.
I think it's pretty simple.
And the other part, I mean, specifically with this situation, I mean, if you presented him with an opportunity to go play with his brother, I'm sure that he would take that. So there he is down there in Florida. So strike one from the list for the Nashville Predators.
Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. Obviously the tax thing is part of it and all that stuff
sure.
too. And of course, like this place is a good recruiting tool, but you gotta show something for someone who's well into their career and wants to have a chance to win. I mean, again, with this one, it's also just a special case because of the brother thing. So that's the goal is for Nashville is to get to the point where they're more attractive.
You're on these lists.
Yeah, when you're on these lists. Predemption says he still hates Vegas more, but the Panthers are climbing. Also, boy, is Hellebuyck gonna? I know Hellebuck's trying to get he's trying to get the heck out of there.
Add him to the Team USA chat, by the way.
Yeah. Gosh, is he gonna end up in Florida?
I think they're gonna try.
That's fair.
Interested to see if they can get that to work. But yeah, I think they're going to try.
I know. Like, I need to see some math on this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they got to make a decision with Bobrovsky anyway. I mean, he's coming up to be a free agent. So I don't know. That part of it's going to be interesting. But I think more than anything, Tkachuk move aside, it's a fascinating trade. Like I saw Florida made a trade earlier in the day yesterday to Seattle. Samiskevich, or however you say his name, and I think it's how you say it. It was like, really? Like, why are they? He's a pretty good young player. I was like, why are they trading him? And then they got a first-round pick back, and then they made that trade like 3 hours later. I was like, oh, well, that's why.
There you go. Clear a little space.
Clear a little room. Get
some
room.
room.
An extra pick in there. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense at that point. But I will say this, like, real quickly. If Florida stays healthy next year, they're probably going to be back in the Stanley Cup final. I mean, they're, Barkov and Tkachuk, and now you add another Tkachuk in there, and they're not going anywhere. They're going to be pretty good. So there's that part of it. But I think more than anything, what I wonder about from this is, we've been talking about it. Free agency this year sucks. It's not a good free agent class. The cap is going way up. And if you want to change your team, trades are going to have to be a big part of the way you do it. Well, we're already starting to see some trades come in. And I think there's a chance over the next few weeks here that you're just going to see some earth movers when it comes to trades in the NHL.
Will Chris McFarland be contributing to this?
That is a great question, and we're going to get into that coming up next. If that's the way it goes, and you start to see a very busy offseason in the NHL when it comes to player movement and trades and people being aggressive on that front. How should Chris McFarland, as new general manager of the Nashville Predators, react to that? Should that make him more willing to maybe move some guys that have been here for a while and are under contracts? Could you throw yourself in the mix and land one of these big fish? Should that be the way you go? We'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. I got some tickets to give away. A 4-pack of tickets to see the Nashville Sounds take on the Gwinnett Braves at First Horizon Park this Thursday. First pitch is at 6:35. Nashville taking on Gwinnett. To caller number 4, 615-737-1025. Caller number 4 will win a 4-pack of tickets to see the Sounds take on Gwinnett at First Horizon Park coming up this Thursday. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One texter says, Hellebuck and Matthews are next. Throw in Kyle Connor, too. We'll see. I mean, I don't think this is going to be the last pretty big trade this offseason. And I don't know specifically who it's going to be, but like Matthews is trying to figure out what his future looks like in Toronto. We've talked about that. And the cap is going up. It's not a great free agency class. And then that leaves you wondering, okay, if you're Chris McFarland settling into a new job, and now you've been on the job for a few weeks, You got the draft coming up at the end of this week, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the week as the week goes on. You got the draft part of it you got to figure out. It's not a centralized draft anymore, so it's not like everybody in the world is going to be there where you're on the draft floor talking to people. But I think you'll still see some trades that get made at this weekend's draft. So if you're McFarland, how do you kind of view all this? How do you view where it looks like things are going this offseason in the NHL? How do you want to involve yourself in that? Because I think there's a couple of ways you could go with this, Joe. You could look at it and you could say, well, free agency class is not very good. Teams are going to want to change their teams and improve their teams the best way they can. And the best way they can this offseason is probably via trade. So we can start trading guys off. Like, I would love to know, what have the conversations been like between McFarland and Roman Josi right now? I'd love to know. I don't know what the answer is, but we've talked about the Josi part of this. He's got 2 years left on his deal. Depending on which direction the Predators decide to go here, I think Roman Josi could be open-minded to a lot of things when it comes to his future. So how have those conversations gone? I would assume at least some of them have happened to this point. What's the conversation been like with Stamkos? What's the conversation been like with O'Reilly since he took over? So you could go that way. I mean, you could start trading guys off and trying to reshape your team that way. Or you could look at it if you're Chris McFarland and say, well, we got a ton of assets. We got all these prospects. We got all these draft picks. And there's all these guys that could be available via trade. Maybe go add a guy or two to the mix and see what the picture looks like at that point. I don't know what he's going to do, but I don't know that this would be the time where I'd be sitting back and doing nothing if I'm Chris McFarland. I think I'd probably pick a direction here and start to operate in that direction.
I think I might prefer nothing over the second part of your thing. If you're saying,
well, it just depends on who it is, right? Like could you make a trade for somebody who's 25 years old?
Who's younger,
right?
Who you could grow with. Yeah. I mean,
I'm with you. I'm not looking for 32-year-olds. Yeah.
Yeah. Like trying to, compete now. And also I'd still have there's every team has this, but there's some untouchables in the prospects and plenty of picks. So they can play with that. But yeah, I think I would rather see something like that. I'm not saying, yes, trade Josi no matter what, but be open to it and maybe see if you could get a massive haul for someone like that. I think the fan base would probably be pretty split. But, I mean, a lot of the people who, and I think it's a majority just from talking to people and then the reaction we get, who are so sick of where they've been. I mean, that would be a move that you may not like it immediately, but again, what's the return? And that certainly signals a change in direction.
Oh, yeah.
That you've been screaming for, right?
Well, I think also we always view this through the lens of the team, right? It's like, okay, so the team's got to make all these decisions and the team's got to figure out which direction they want to go, the team this, the team that. And that's important. But we just talked about it. Like the league is changing, right? Like you've got players that are looking around and they're saying, I don't love either the situation I'm in, the market that I'm in, the place I'm living. Sometimes it's a combination of all those things. And I don't think you're going to run into like anybody on the Predator saying, I don't like living here. Like I've never heard that. Like I've been around the game for a long time. I don't think you're not going to run into anybody looking at Nashville and saying, yeah, this place kind of sucks. So you don't have to worry about that part of it. But if you're Josi, I think Yosi's a perfect example of this. Aren't you paying attention to what's going on around the league right now? And you're saying, okay, I mean, you got players basically controlling their future right now. And, Yosi's in the same boat as Tkachuk and some of these other guys from the standpoint of they have full control over it. Like they got full control of what's going on, where they're going, what they okay, all those things. And I just wonder whether it's Josi or not, but some of these Predators players, do they look at it and say, you know what? Man, I just don't think we're going to win here in the next couple of years. Let me go somewhere that can win. We view it so much through the lens of the team, but I think the more interesting part of it this offseason is the lens of the player. Like, what does that look like?
Like I said earlier, I mean, it's a fascinating time in the NHL because people are waking up to the fact that you can do this.
Yeah.
You can make this happen. And some of it is the product of so many more NMCs being out there, right? I mean, so my question on that would be, now we saw basically Barry Trotz, like, kind of doing Ryan O'Reilly a solid, right? I mean, that's kind of what it looked like to me. Like he was kind of deferring to him. Would a Yossi in a situation where they're actually talking about this seriously, how much of a solid can a player do to the team in terms of, okay, like even like talking terms and whatever, and like, okay, now this is good enough for us. Are you okay with this? Yeah. I don't know how much that happens, but like, this is definitely an organization. I know it's new management now, but it's definitely an organization that has worked with players and given them the benefit of the doubt and tried to do right by them. Would a Yossi, if this scenario actually materialized, do the same for the Preds?
Maybe it could. And again, like, I don't want to make it sound like Roman Yossi is like trying to get out of here or anything. I don't know.
Get out of town, Roman. We're trying to trade you, man.
But I just think that if you're him, it would be surprising to me if he's not at least open to seeing what's out there, right? Because I mean, what if you're Yossi and you're talking to McFarland and McFarland's like, yeah, man, I mean, this is just going to require a retooling phase of this roster that's just going to take a while. Like it's going to take 2 or 3 years to really get this going. Well, if you're Yossi, and I don't blame him. Like if you don't want to hear that. It's like, well, I've got 2 years left on my contract. Like I want to win, right?
None of those guys want to hear it. We know Stamkos doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, so I have no idea how those conversations have gone. But those are also things, if you're Chris McFarland, like you got to figure that out pretty quickly because the time is coming here in the next. I mean, it's now. The time is now. The Tkachuk domino is falling. The draft is later this week. I mean, you're going to see more trades this week. So you've got to get a strategic map of the way you want this to play out this offseason. And maybe not everything happens the way you want it to happen, but you got to get a little bit of a roadmap here of what you want to do if you're Chris McFarland. And I would assume that like those conversations, they need to have probably happened by now. And you're trying to figure all that out.
You got me thinking that we got something big coming.
Well,
I'm starting to believe it. We got something big coming.
Maybe, and maybe it's here, maybe it's not. The Tkachuk thing, the more you think about it, it shouldn't be that big of a surprise because of everything we've talked about. I mean, yes, Brady Tkachuk is its own thing because he just went to a spot where his brother is, and that is unique. But I mean, there's all this chatter out there about how this is one of the worst free agency classes of all time. And it's bad. Like it's terrible.
It's
like
brutal.
You go look at it and you're like, this free agency class. I mean, you can find some good players, but this free agency class sucks.
Like, I can't remember a class where there weren't at least 2 or 3 guys who are like, yeah, I mean, this class is
it's awful.
Really?
So it's like if that's and it's also it's not even just the free agency class. It's the fact that the cap is shooting up, and there are these teams that either want to add a couple of pieces that they think puts them over the top, or they want to reshape kind of the way their team is built. And I just think because of those specific set of circumstances heading into this offseason, this could be one of the wildest offseason in the NHL that we've seen.
So let's get involved.
Yeah.
Let's not sit on the sidelines, folks. No, there's people, a lot of reaction to the text line. Salary floor is something, worth pointing out, if you totally do. So, go get Austin Matthews. A lot of Austin Matthews talk out there.
Well, I mean, the salary floor thing's a good point. I'm glad people are bringing it up. Like you've got to know that. I guess the only thing I would say is, it's June 22nd. You've got some time to address that. Like if you traded a Yossi, it's not like you couldn't get back to the salary cap floor and then go from there. And by the way, like we say it's a bad free agency class. The Predators are going to sign somebody in free agency. It's not like they're going to look at the free agency class. They're going to be like, we're not doing anything. Like nothing's going to happen.
It's like what you would call the NFL plan B free agency.
Exactly.
I mean, everybody signs somebody, but yeah, it's not great. Texas says the trades need to be players for players. We've had draft capital to no end, I feel like. Try something new. Another Texas says dump Saros at all costs. I would disagree with that, all costs. I mean, he's still like a goaltender who is under contract, could. I mean, but certainly, I mean, that's something you look at. You see if anybody out there is truly interested in that deal.
One texter is asking about, like, you got retention spots available if you're the Predators. Would you trade Yossi and retain salary? No. Like, I don't think you'll have to retain salary on Yossi. Like, Yossi, the $9 million. I mean, it's not chump change, but like he's still an elite driver of offense. Now, I do think defensively it's gone down with Yossi a little bit over the last few years, which you would expect at age 36, right? Like it's not the same as it was. But offensively, I think when he's on and he's healthy, he's still pretty elite at driving offense. Like I don't think the money, especially when it's only 2 years left, I don't think you're going to have to retain any salary on Yossi.
Well, that's how you make the cap floor. Retain the salary.
Well, maybe so.
Qualify. Can you do? Does that count? Does that count?
I don't know. I'd have to get into the CBA weeds on that one. I don't know. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. A lot more reaction to get to on what the Predators should do in what could be an absolutely wild NHL offseason. We'll get more into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. It's Reaction Monday, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Here on Robby and Rexrode, we'll have the Rex Ramp with Joe Rexrode coming up here in just a few minutes. Cory Curtis at 8 o'clock on the program. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Could be a wild offseason in the National Hockey League. Brady Tkachuk just got traded from Ottawa to Florida. Could the Predators involve themselves in some trades this offseason? Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Jacob on the YouTube chat asking about, is there another, obviously they traded Martin Erat, Michael Latta for Philip Forsberg long time ago at this point. And Forsberg came back. Obviously that's a pick where you're shipping off players, you're getting back a prospect, and that prospect turns out to be pretty darn good for the Nashville Predators. Has there been another one like that that's really happened? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, they've had nothing like that one. I mean, that one is in the bowels of NHL history as one of the all-time fleecings there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, what would be the next best example of a prospect that the Predators got in return for a player that ended up being pretty good. I'll have to go through that in my head, kind of the history of that one, but that's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. They obviously got a lot of draft capital and stuff like that when they had their sell-off at the end of Poyle. Like, there was some deals in the Jeannot deal where you're like, whoa, really?
Yeah.
But, yeah, actually a prospect who ended up being a really important Nashville Predator.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about the great players they've had in franchise history. Like, Shea Weber was drafted. Yossi was drafted. Correa was a free agent that they signed. Johansson was a trade that they got. And Pekka was drafted. So, I mean, it's a lot of guys that were drafted that were not as a part of a prospect coming back the other way in a trade.
Yeah, like Forsberg really stands.
He's like the one.
Stands out. Because obviously Subban was a
trade
player in prime, player in
prime,
prime, not a prospect who then eventually became great.
Right.
So that's a good point.
Doesn't happen very often.
New era again. Another reason we're calling it a new era.
It has not happened often. Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the program. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Let me ask you, man, is Yossi part of the long-term plans? Is there another contract?
I mean, long-term plans? I don't think so. I mean, first off, I don't know how much longer he wants to play. He's 36 years old.
He's had concussions. I think this is his.
So to answer your question, no, I don't think he is.
And like, people don't talk about it enough. I think it's incredible that he's playing with POTS. Like, they got that under control, but I've got POTS. Like, I know people who have POTS, and it sucks, man. Like, it's an uncomfortable thing. So it's not just that though, dude. But I'm thinking if you could get something for him, I know it's blasphemous to think of getting rid of him. But if somebody would take something for him, and if he would agree to go to help the team, if you could get a haul, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. I don't think he's part of the long-term future. And I think he's another statue guy, man. You could possibly give Yossi a statue, but I don't think if we could get something for him, I like having a new GM who doesn't love him like we all do. So at least let him make the decision. I don't know, dude. I think if you can get something for one of these dudes, do it.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. I mean, the McFarland, I mean, that's part of what makes the hire so interesting when you go outside the organization for really the first time is, there is. I mean, to me, that's not going to change regardless of where things go from here. Like he's going to get his jersey retired one day. I think he's got a good chance to be in the Hall of Fame one day. We'll see what that looks like. I'd probably hold off on the statues for the time being. We'll see what happens on that front. Like, to me, statues need to be basically reserved for winning championships. But they
do already have one.
They do already have one.
So if you're going to set that precedent, is he not a lock?
I mean, could be.
Maybe not. You may not approve.
I mean, it sounds like I'm taking a shot at Yossi there. I would have never put statue of Pekka. That's just me. Like, to me, there's got to be some championships when you're talking about statues.
So you're a statue hater.
Yes, I am. Like, a statue, you better, statues for like Gretzky,
Yeah.
Crosby when he gets a statue. That's a statue.
Yeah, Michigan State has one. It's Magic Johnson.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a statue.
Yeah,
So I think we probably jumped the gun a little bit on that one, but whatever.
Oh, well, it's there.
That's an argument that I know that I will lose. So that's fine. But that's
how about like statuettes around it?
well,
Smaller ones?
Maybe so. But like, to me, this is just me. If the Predators better have a better reason. If they're planning on going in a direction where they're not going to be overly competitive in the next couple of years, you better have a better reason if you're the Nashville Predators than, oh, well, we just want him to play his entire career. No.
Like, yeah, like I'm not saying you have to become Vegas, but like imagine that franchise thinking in those terms. You just have to be more ruthless than that.
Well,
there's one goal here.
And look, if that's how he feels, well, then he's got total control over it.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to go anywhere.
And as you've said, and I agree, I don't know, but I can't imagine he wouldn't be intrigued, knowing that his place here is
secure.
Already
he's
established.
A franchise icon.
And if he knows that they're just not going to be at any sort of level to really compete in the rest of his career, then how could you not be intrigued? If he isn't, well, then that would just surprise me. Then to me, it
would have to be completely family related. I say completely. It would have to be his family's here. This is where he wants them to grow up, all those things. Plus, I mean, look, I think this answer is different to different guys. I think there are some guys where playing for one team means a lot to them. I don't know if Yossi, I think it does mean a lot to Yossi. Does it mean enough to the point where you just would be totally closed off to anything else? Because I think it means a lot to a lot of guys. And then you get around to a point where it's like, well, it does mean a lot to me, but I'd sure like to go win somewhere. Right.
Yeah.
Then you'll run across that rare one that's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm staying here. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Yeah. Like to me, that is some competitive fire reduced if that's how, right. Like I would have to look at it that way.
And people will bring up Crosby in that too. Like Crosby, there's probably been a couple of opportunities over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, if you're Pittsburgh, where you could have moved him.
Yeah.
Crosby seems pretty clear that he doesn't want to do that, but he's also won 3 championships there. Like that's different.
It is different. Yeah, it is different. Like Caleb says, he's earned the right to play out his days in Nashville. So unless he says I want a chance to win it all, he'll be a Pred. But again, why wouldn't he? Again, it has to be like, here's the team. Here's how you would fit in. You have to look at it. But if you were him with a couple years probably left of his career and you had that opportunity, it's hard for me to imagine many guys in this league not being interested in that.
Well, and it's a totally different situation, a totally different regime. But a couple of people have brought it up on the text line. Like, they did trade Shea Weber, and Shea Weber meant every bit as much to this organization as Yossi did. Right? Like it's not the same situation. Like they were on the verge of being a cup contender at that point, and Subban came in, they got the cup final next year. This is not that. So it's a different type of situation. I'm just saying that it's not like they haven't traded a franchise icon before. It was quite the day when they did that.
No doubt. Yeah. And different because you're like, oh, this might be an upgrade here, right. and we're getting closer, having won a playoff series, but still, no doubt. Loppy says Yossi's trade protection is gone after this year. Well, this would be the time period we're talking about him being moved. Is that true? His trade protection is gone after this year?
I'd have to go look at the contract, but I don't even really think that part of it matters. Like I think it's more of the philosophical. Like right now, you're in a transition period, and I think whether his trade protection is gone or not, this would be a situation where, like the Ryan O'Reilly thing they've done, they would do right by Yossi. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, and again, that's where if we're talking about a list of teams and all that stuff, you could do right by each other both ways. Texter wants to know if you hate the Rocky statue in Philadelphia. He won again. Like people are going to think that I'm taking a shot at Pekka. It's not Pekka's fault they built the statue. Like I would, just. You hate sculptors, what you're telling us. You hate sculpture as an art form. To me, as a sports fan, like when you're talking, I think jersey retirement, right? I have no problem with Pekka's jersey being retired. Yossi's jersey is going to be retired one day. When you start talking about statue, like you're talking like legend of legend,
right? Like, to me, that's how I view it.
Yeah.
I'm talking Hall of Famer, champions, all those things.
Probably should have brought you a cup.
That's all I'm saying.
The untouchable Pekka.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime we can bring that one back up.
Yeah. No,
Again, I'm fully
hear
aware
ya.
this is an argument around here that I would lose.
Yeah. Well, I think I lean your way on that. I mean, I've heard PK complain about Zach Randolph's jersey being retired in Memphis because he didn't win a championship. It's like, well, some places don't win championships, so like you never honor great
But even
players.
even that's jersey retirement. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
That's fine. I have no problem with jersey being retired.
We're talking statues
Statue.
here. Talking statue.
Yeah. To me, that's a
Talking
different
about
level.
statue.
It's a different level. 615-737-1025. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Cam, why did you fumble the ball instead of scoring a touchdown, Cam?
He's complaining, and enabling.
Maybe someday you could be like me and get gout.
In all the ways I want to be like you, having gout is the number one way.
You were wrong about
I'm with you.
Shador, and I made a roast. So, Alante, you couldn't stop anybody from getting in the end zone last year. What's with that?
But I'm going to burn them into your brain. It's going to form a lot of opinions. It's going to be dangerous for the community.
Are you going to fire yourself? Because you need to be fired.
But I think you severely underrate Bush. The best of Bush is very good.
But I want science here, PK. I don't want your mumbo-jumbo mysticism.
White Sox.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Rapid Response Generators, power when it matters most, and served by the Wine Cellar in Hendersonville. Joseph, the floor is yours.
Great stuff there. Makes me almost feel like I should rant about PK. But maybe this guy, like if PK were a national analyst for soccer, would he be somewhat like Alexi Lalas?
I don't know.
Because let me just say, I have not seen anything quite like this whole thing with Lalas. It is wild. He is awful. He is god awful, and everybody hates him openly to his face. And like it's all,
I have noticed that.
it's incredible. Like, so Andrew Marchand, friend of the show. I always say Marchand or Marchand. I think I need to actually ask him. He wrote a column last week wishing that Lalas had never learned English. Just ripping I mean, it's so here's this from The Guardian wrote this the kind of trollish hyperventilating garbage that Lalas specializes in is its standards fare on sports cable, but it's a weird fit for soccer whose global reach compels a kind of analytic modesty. I'm going to read more from The Guardian here. So to put context on this, he's there. Okay, Thierry Henry. Did I say that correctly?
I think it's Henry.
Henry.
Thank you. Thierry Henry, and then Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Ibra. Yep.
Yeah, Ibrahimovic. Okay, these guys, they're with him on the panel. Okay, and Rebecca Lowe is trying to this is the main panel, trying to coordinate this. Those guys hate his guts, right? Like they hate him.
Especially like Zlatan, you can tell.
So
I don't like him very much.
I mean,
Called him ignorant.
Yeah. I saw that because he was like, well, if they are cocky, they deserve it or something like that. And he was like, anyone who says that is ignorant. And then, I mean, he's gone. He's in Seattle. If anybody watched the panel in Seattle, they're all kind of talking to each other, good analysis of the game and everything. And then finally we dominate them. We must kill them or something like that. It was like, thank you, Alexi. Okay. And then everybody else, let's talk about soccer again. It's weird, man. So let me read this from The Guardian quote. Where do I start? Quote, in a conversation where his co-panelist is casually reminiscing about his days playing alongside Messi or exchanging shirts with Ronaldo Nazario at the World Cup, what exactly is Lalas going to talk about? Coming on as a second-half substitute for Ernie Stewart in a friendly against Scotland in 1998? Helping the Kansas City Wizards finish last in the 1999 MLS Western Conference? Did Lalas enjoy an elite playing career? No. But does he do the background reading that could compensate for his relative lack of standing in a conversation with titans like Henry and Zlatan? Also, no. But is he charming or funny or charismatic or otherwise magnetic on the screen? No. End quote. He is getting annihilated. I got to ask the soccer fans out there. I mean, I actually kind of look forward to future broadcasts to see what else happens.
I mean, they might fight each other.
Like, there's a couple of times where she's like, Rebecca's like, okay, guys, okay. I know she did an interview like, there's a lot of respect, on here.
Clearly.
Meanwhile, other guys who played with him are like, God, I'm so glad to see him get dragged like this. So if you're a soccer fan, it feels to me like it's almost like an intentional heel situation. I can't think of what would be comparable to this in other sports, where you have someone who is basically reviled by everyone, who, again, doesn't have the career to, to just, again, like Tom Brady has the career he has, and so he immediately gets a pass to graduation, like
Brady's
like Billy Madison,
somewhat likable.
Yeah, no, and I'm just saying, like that. The career is a huge part of it. Like here, like Lawless doesn't have that. So, do soccer fans like him? Do they hate him? Do they wish he wasn't on the broadcast? Do they find it funny that he's kind of like a sideshow with this? I'm curious. I would like to hear from the soccer fans among you about Lawless, because as bad as it early on, I'm like, oh my God, he's been on this forever, but I feel like he's really like taking it to another level.
Well,
So
I think it's rare to watch something going down on television, particularly in the world of sports, like broadcasting, and walk away feeling like, oh, they like legitimately don't like him, right? Like, people have asked about like you and PK or you and Stilly back in the day of like, do you guys like hate each other? And it's like, no, actually, they're actually friends. Like, believe it or not, Joe's actually friends with these people. No, like you could tell like that Ibrahimovic does not like Lawless.
Yeah.
Like you walk away on, in some situations, like feeling a little bit uncomfortable. You're like, okay, so they're just going to like fight each other on the set right here.
And the difference too, by the way, is that these people are put together
exactly
for a very short period of time, and it's not a normal working relationship. Right. So, I mean, what else would even compare to that? I guess the Olympics.
Probably the Olympics. That would be it.
But yeah, like I've got people saying, no, we hate him. Should have been Dempsey. I feel like we've had some good. I really like the top announcing crew who did the U.S.-Australia game.
Yes.
I think that's a really good crew because I think there's some good explanation of soccer from, and I'm forgetting their names, but they're good. A lot of it's been good. Everybody's saying everybody hates. Alex says everyone hates Lawless. He's been awful for years. So then why was it important to have him for this huge? But it's also, some people would say, well, no, all publicity is good publicity.
They're talking about it.
People are writing about him and talking about him, and
so
I must say,
your answer right there.
Yeah, like
John Strong, Stu Holden.
Thank you.
Are the crew there?
And Holden's is the analyst.
Correct, former player.
Yeah, he's good, man. Yeah, he's very good. So yeah, maybe this is intentional, because I gotta say, I'm kind of looking forward to the next time those guys are all together on the desk and what might happen. It's almost like inside the NBA when, again, they like each other, even though I think Shaq would absolutely have liked to beat Barkley's ass a few times.
Yep.
Right. Except that like there's clear dislike here, which is kind of fascinating.
It is.
Go, Alexi.
I don't know that I recall a situation quite like it. It's kind of amazing. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, there are obviously other broadcasters that people don't like, right? Like, or you have your opinions.
Yeah, but like, so Skip, Bayless, but that's he just was on an argument show, so it's not. I mean, he's never been put on any coverage of anything. Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz is a guy who could drive fans crazy, although he and Mark May both were annoying, so they both were annoying together. I don't know. Chad says Lawless has always been a blowhard. Putting him next to legends like that has to be a rib from someone. Yeah,
but like, I don't even really care about that part of it, because you could find plenty of examples in sports and sports broadcasting where somebody on the desk is not like some elite player. Like in the NHL, Paul Bissonnette was like basically a healthy scratch and a fourth line grinder. He's really good at the TNT job. So like, it doesn't particularly like Gretzky's on the desk, Messier's on the desk, and neither one of those guys are very good at the jobs. I don't really even care about that part of it.
Right. If he was good, no one would talk about that.
Right.
Right. But instead, he's bad, and he was bad, and he is bad, and it's kind of beautiful, actually. Go Soccer.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. Cory Curtis from News 2 will be with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. And as we do every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, we head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Cory Curtis to the program from News 2. Cory, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Robert. I'm delightful. How are you today?
Delightful as well, even more so now that you're with us here on the program. And we have talked a lot today, Cory, about the Jeffery Simmons contract.
Yep.
And look, I don't think anybody that I have, at least that I've talked to, has a problem with this. I mean, he played great last year. I feel good about the shape that he keeps himself in, the motivation, all those things. My question for you is this. Let's say that he plays the next 3 years at a similar level that he played this past year. When you start to think of like the all-time great Tennessee Titans, how high up that list do you think he can get? Because I would say for most people, McNair, Derrick Henry, Eddie George, whatever order you want to put those three in are probably the three guys. I think it's going to be difficult to get in like that type of territory, but how high do you think Simmons can get?
Well, you got to win. That's part of it too. And you know, he's played well. I mean, go back to the playoff game against the Bengals. I mean, he was a one-man wrecking crew in that game, and still somehow they lost. And you know, the Monday nighter against the Rams. I mean, you know, he's played well for a long time, but you know, like you said, last year was spectacular. You know, if you remember Albert Haynesworth, he had moments and he played well, and then he got into those years where he was tagged, and it was two of the most dominant years I've ever seen from a defensive tackle. I mean, he was devastating. He was devastating. And so, you know, if he can, you know, put, like you said, like 3 years together like this year, you know, he will advance past that. That's for sure. And, you know, look, there are other great Titans. I mean, you didn't mention Kevin Byard, who's you know, had several All-Pro seasons. Yep. I mean, he's been a great player, was a great player, you know, for this team. You know, Taylor Lewan had, but how many not All-Pro, but Pro Bowl seasons? You're right. He's got the ability to be special for sure. You know, if AJ Brown had stayed here, you know, he could be on that list. Yep. You know, Keith Bullock was a great player who didn't necessarily get the league recognition because he wasn't a sack guy. But yeah, I mean, shoot, if he puts together 3 more seasons where he's on top of 10 sacks a game, I think he's definitely in that Mount Rushmore conversation.
So with Robert Saleh, Cory, talking about, you know, maybe using him a little bit less, going, you know, he's like an 81% snap guy or whatever he is.
Yeah.
Maybe focusing on pass rush, you know, I do. My immediate question is, are you getting to third and long if he's off the field, you know, even though there are some other good guys in this defense? But what do you think that does for Simmons this year if that plan as stated is executed that way?
Well, I think, you know, like I said before, Joe, you know, winning matters in this too, because if you're winning, you're also in more pass rush situations. He had 11 sacks last year playing on a team that was behind all the time. And so, you know, if the Titans are winning and forcing teams to throw, you know, that puts him in more obvious pass rush situations. And, you know, you like to think that he's got some better pass rushers around him. And if that's the case, you still have to think he's going to get double teamed all the time. You just do, because I mean, if I was coaching the Titans, that's where I would start. Against Titans, that's where I would start. But if they could play out front, I think he could have more obvious pass rush situations. And I think Salah's point is, if he's fresher in those situations, you know, that you'll get even more from him. So I think the hope is that he plays 60-65% of the snaps, but still winds up with as many or possibly more sacks. I think that's the idea behind it. You know, does it play out? You know, we'll see. We'll see if it does. And, I know Robert talked about Jeff being a good run defender. He's a really good run defender. And, that's why it's why it's hard to take him off the field, because he's really good at both.
Well, we got to ask you about the quarterback. I mean, we talked about the how big of a discussion point the inaccuracy issues at OTAs were. Well, looks like he responded pretty well in the minicamp part of this.
Yeah.
So what did you make of that, and how big a deal in your mind to see him do that and respond when team periods were going on out there at the minicamp?
Well, like I said, it's okay to have high expectations of the first pick of the draft. Okay. And so, did he miss some throws? Yeah. And so, I asked the other day, what was the why? When he misses, what's the why? And you got the answer of, trying things he wouldn't try necessarily in a game, layering throws and having to do that, not being necessarily 100% on the same page, with receivers and what you want them to do, or where you're trying to put them, with the throw. There's a lot that goes into it other than just missing. Does that mean he didn't just miss sometimes? No, it doesn't. But, again, we heard the same things about Caleb Williams and Drake May last year. And again, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, because all of it matters, but there's context to all of it. And, when he comes out and plays better in minicamp, I think that shows some of it. And again, I'll be more worried in training camp if like we see an extension of this, because I always bring up the Levis Ridley thing.
Yeah.
That showed up pretty early, that they were having trouble getting on the same page. And it continued into training camp. And that's when it became, all right, well, let's see what happens here in the season. And it was a problem when the season started. So, we'll see what happens in training camp. I don't not care, and I'm not worried. I'm not like overly worried. I'll put it that way.
Okay, so headline: Cory Curtis says expect a combination of Drake May and Caleb Williams and Cam Ward's second season. Is that? Can we tweet that? Can we tweet that out?
And for the Titans to have a massive turnaround like the Bears and the Patriots and go to the playoffs. And,
sounds fun.
Be electric. Yeah.
Well, if he does take a huge step, we've just been talking about the defense, which I think could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Why can't the Titans be this year's massive turnaround team?
Sure. I mean, look, you never know how the schedule is going to pan, and it happens. It happens every year. We saw the Commanders do it, 2 years ago. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how the schedule plays out. We'll see how their offensive line plays out. See how it comes together.
So, Corey, I want to ask you about Roman Josi. He's got 2 years left on his contract. There was a report dating back to March from Pierre LeBrun that basically just said, when the Predators hire their new general manager, keep an eye on Josi. And I don't think that, LeBron's just pulling that out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 years left. Everybody's interested to see where this team is going, what direction, McFarland decides to take this offseason. In an offseason, by the way, where free agency is not very good, and I think you could see a ton of trades. We saw one yesterday, Brady Tkachuk going down to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your viewpoint on Josi? How open you think he might be to moving on if he gets the sense that maybe the Predators aren't necessarily committed to winning next year? The legacy in Nashville, all those things. How important is it that he finishes a career as a Pred? I mean, take that any way you want to take it with Roman Josi with 2 years left on his deal.
Well, look, would you love to see him finish here with a statue out on the plaza with Pecorine? Yeah, he might get it anyway, even if he still gets traded. I know Shea Weber was a great player, but I mean, Roman's arguably the best Predator skater ever. I mean, with duration, Paul Kariya was obviously a great player. Philip Forsberg scored a ton of goals. Steven Stamkos, the Hall of Famer, but the duration's not there. Look, Roman is as class of a guy as you will ever meet. And I haven't talked to him about this, so I don't know, but I would think he would love to finish his career here. And I would think he would love to win a cup here. But I don't know how many years he's got left. I
2.
mean, no. I mean,
Just in general in his career, yeah.
I mean, because the physical thing he's been going through is pretty significant, and so I mean, I could see the scenario where the Preds think if he's still got value, they could move on. It would be easier to me if you felt like Tanner Molendyk was ready.
Yeah.
And you knew that he could, I would love to see the two of them on the ice in the same year, where you could kind of have that transition. But, we didn't get that. And so I guess they have a decision to make. And if it is a bad year in free agency and everything, then, maybe he's got more value. Maybe he's got more value for a team that thinks he's a piece that puts them over the top. And, Reds have missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. So I guess, whatever whatever McFarland wants to do, I get it.
So you're pro statue? Just want to get you on the record.
For Yost, sure, give him a statue.
There we go.
Robby is vehemently opposed to statues for people who aren't all-time greats, possibly brought you a cup, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, so you don't think Packer should have gotten one?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. I get it.
I'm cool with the jersey retirement. I think the statue is for legends of the game. That's just me.
I get it. But, I think Yossi's the best skater they've ever had. What do you think?
No, I think, I think he is too. I think he's the best skater they've ever had. For sure.
Yeah, and how many years are we in now? We're almost 30 years.
We're approaching
in.
30, yeah.
Yeah, pretty phenomenal player.
Yeah,
I understand. Statues are, they're I don't want to say they're gross, but
we are really attacking the sculptors.
We really are
today on this program.
They're not going to like us after this.
Look, Pekka, it was so important to this team.
Sure.
Just because the team almost left, and while all the other players fled from it, he was like, "Nope, I'm good. I'm staying. This is my squad." And the city always embraced him for that.
If that statue ever gets vandalized, I think we have an idea who to look at.
It's Robby.
That would require me going downtown, and I'm not doing that. Corey, thank you, sir.
It's got a Packer jersey on it. I know the first person I'm talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Painted orange and white.
It's like the Rock in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Corey, thank you, sir. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. Hope you had a great Father's Day, and we will talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. You guys enjoy. I hope you guys are both dads now too. So yeah, there you go.
That is true.
Yeah. Been one for a minute here.
Well, Robby had to prove he was capable.
That's true.
And he's done it.
I still don't know whether or not that's happened yet.
Well, by the way, Allison, I have to tell you this story that Robby told at the beginning of the show, but she gave him this awesome book with a lot of things that you fill in the answers, and it was 5 people that Daddy helps, and I was one of them. So Joe Rexrode.
Joe Rexrode.
Yeah. Please help him.
So
Daddy.
I got a shirt that says "Best Dad Ever." You guys are both second and third.
Okay, I'll take it.
Nice.
You're both playing from behind.
That's all right.
Just so you know.
That's top 3. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, baby. See you, Corey.
All right.
Corey Curtis, our guest every Monday morning at 8 o'clock. We'll react to what Corey had to say, get back into Jeffery Simmons, plus a friend of our show who is very high on Cam Ward. We'll get into that later as well. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at 102.5 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. Enjoyed our award-winning future one day YouTube chat. When do you think our YouTube chat will win an award? What award will they win?
If there's an award,
it needs to happen.
I think it should win. Yeah.
Although we do have a Texas Tech fan that somehow entered the YouTube chat that even when we're not talking about Texas Tech and or Brendan Sorsby, brings it up. So
yeah, he's a little unhinged.
Could that be a bot?
We are in Nashville. We're not going to talk about Texas Tech that much when it's not involving a.
We're just talking about all our stuff, and then all of a sudden, old Texas Tech man, and Will Hammond, I trust, and just start saying all this stuff. Like, whoa, calm down, Texas Tech man.
Sure.
Good luck to you.
Good to see.
Yeah.
Well, I have not run across any Titans fans so far on either the YouTube chat or the text line today that have a problem with Jeffery Simmons' contract extension, Joe. I didn't think there'd be many. I thought maybe there'd be some, but nobody so far.
Yeah.
Seems to have an issue.
Yeah. Like he has a bad year, gets hurt this year, something like that, and people will want to go back in Monday morning quarterback it. But right now, everybody is first guessing thumbs up.
Yep. Look, it makes sense. First off, I think a lot of people's approach, and I understand it, is, well, they don't really have anybody else to give this money to right now, so why not? Just give it to him. Like, he's a great player, played great last year. And then I do think that's an interesting point the more you think about it. Like, you're going into a situation with a new coach where, who knows, maybe the snap count does come down, significantly this year for Jeff Simmons, even though I still think I'm going to have to see that to process that and believe it, because I think it sounds great on paper. I think the idea of taking him out of the game when it's 1st and 10 and then the running back's gashing you for 6 yards of carry, and it's like, well, we might need to put him back in there. I'm interested to see how that plays out in actuality here. But who knows? Maybe the snap count goes down this year, and instead of playing 81% of the snaps, he's at 65 or whatever it is. I do think from a contractual standpoint, you can look at that at Jeffery Simmons and say, well, what is this? Like, they're screwing me over here. Like, I want to be out there as much as possible. So to go ahead and get that out of the way and not have that be really any factor at all when it comes to, him worried about contract negotiations on that front. And now you just go out there and be productive. Like, that's what you need if you're the Titans, is go out there and get after the quarterback and be every bit the menace you were a year ago. And then I think you'll be cool with it.
Yep.
The Titans.
Yeah. You've done it. You've gotten paid twice. It's hard to do.
Yep.
It's hard to get 2 deals like he got. And who knows? He could be a freak and be super productive well into his 30s, past his mid-30s. But realistically, that's about a perfect timeline. I think could be pretty comfortable for the Titans to think about him playing through 30 on this. And of course, if you go into the 30 season and he's still playing at a high level, okay, well, maybe you do another 2-year, but it's not some of these deals, it's like, man, it's going to be rough in the back end. In the NFL, the good thing is basically you get your guaranteed money out of the way, and then, you can get rid of a deal and not have a ton of dead money, later in the later part of the contract. But it just seems like a smart move for them. I'll be interested to see. I don't know where everybody is in this league on contracts, but like next summer, is there somebody at the same position who gets a bigger deal than him who's clearly not as good as him? And then you could look at it and say, okay, so look, what would you have paid him next year if you didn't do it this year?
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting part of this too. And I mean, I do think if you're a Titans fan, it's not your money. First off, the owner is ponying up for this, but I do understand the thought of, all right, would you like to see him another year, stay healthy, see if he can be this productive again another year? I said it earlier in the show. I think there are some guys you run across where you try to gather as much information as humanly possible and extend the period between you negotiating and you signing it as much as you possibly can, because you want to be absolutely sure, right? I think there are some players where you just go ahead and get it done. Like with Derrick Henry, you just find a way to get that thing done. With Jeffery Simmons, I think what we know about him and what he showed last year, you just find a way to get the deal done. Like I think you run across some guys in your franchise every now and then where you just like, I mean, we talked about Yossi all day. I mean, when Yossi was up for his contract with the Predators, it was like the easiest decision ever. It's like, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, and like you brought up earlier, part of the story here is definitely that Simmons has matured and just stopped dealing with frivolous things. and just focused on the game. I think losing was hard for him. He came in and it was win. And then you sort of you just fade down the stretch of that 22 season. You just traded AJ Brown, and it's been losing since then. He didn't handle it well, and he hasn't handled some of the social media stuff well. He's just doing too much on there, and it seems like he's gotten rid of that. Andrew's safe over there, and just keep your mouth shut, Andrew. You'll be fine. And I think he's figured some things out in terms of being a face of a franchise, where a couple years ago he was still figuring it out.
615-737-1025.
Shut up, Andrew.
A friend of the show that is pretty high on Cam Ward. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe, friend of the show, Nick Baumgartner, your coworker at The Athletic, pretty high on Cam Ward. He did a film study. And basically, it's looking at Cam Ward's film last year, and the headline is 2025 NFL Draft QB Film Study. Can Cam Ward continue to improve in year two? And there's a lot of really kind of interesting things in here, and I won't go through the weeds of all of it. You can check it out at The Athletic. But basically, a couple of the key points were, Cam Ward continued to improve as the year went on, which is consistent with his college film, his college journey of just constantly improving and getting better. He got better throughout the season last year. Some struggle. One of the things that, Baumgartner talks about in the struggle category is what we talked about a lot of. Kind of feels like he's trying to throw a touchdown pass on every play, which sounds great, but that can get you into trouble and you can miss out on some plays. And there's all sorts of kind of different reasons in here of the struggles from Cam Ward, some things very specifically that he got better at the last year. And the bottom line is this. This is how he closes it out. Says, the Titans have a lot of work to do. If you watched Cam Ward's full season last year, you understand why they want Carnell Tate in the top 5 this year's draft. If the Titans can surround Ward with weapons, he's going to make everyone except me, talking about himself, Baumgartner, thanks to the 2025 pre-draft take, which was similar to ours of they should not take him as the number 1 overall pick, look really good. So, I read through this yesterday, and I would say it's a very – I don't know if optimistic is the right word, but it feels high on Cam Ward coming off the first year when he looked through the film, which is good to see. We've been talking the last few weeks about inaccuracy. You worried about Cam Ward? Is it fair to be worried about Cam Ward yet? And we've talked about the steps he's going to have to take in year 2 to improve. But Baumgartner likes what he sees on film from Cam Ward after the first year.
Yeah. No, look, if you read this, you're going to come away, I think, excited. I mean, maybe if you're a what are you doing, then, maybe nothing will change your mind. But it's a really well done, thorough film study. And some of the stuff is what you'd expect. Like he improved in terms of just some of here's the simple play, man. Just take this easy money here a little more often. And I think that's definitely part of why, second half numbers are better than his first half numbers, like by quite a bit. But it's fascinating. Now, I'll say a couple things about Nick Baumgartner. He's great at his job. Love the guy. He also, I think at the same combine where I tried to give Kalen Kaler pocket mints, he talked me into his film study about why Anthony Richardson is going to be a great quarterback. I mean, we're all wrong. Yes. We're all wrong sometimes, okay? And someone in Nick's position is going to be wrong a ton. All of them, everybody. People in the NFL who get paid millions to figure these things out are wrong, a lot. But, he does the work, and I can't sit here after reading through the whole thing and lie and say I don't feel a tick better about Cam Ward after going through that. He doesn't address much of just the straight-up mechanical accuracy part, which to me is a big thing. Also, I guess I differ a little bit on his assessment of Cam as a great athlete. I don't see that, he says he's not a burner. I think he's a little bit less than not a burner, but that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I think he's good at evading. He's good at sensing rush.
Yes,
for sure. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot here that's really interesting, and it's kind of it's an effective counter right now after all of camp.
There's an ability he's got to evade the rush that I like. I also think sometimes last year it got him in trouble, and Baumgartner points it out. He's like, if he can stop scrambling backwards and horizontally, the sack total will probably come down.
Yeah.
And you can point to the offensive line. He did run himself into a lot of sacks last year. So, we talked about that throughout the year. So that part of it's got to get better. But I think that's kind of a combination of he's a natural playmaker, so he's trying to extend plays as long as possible. And I do think, especially in the first part of the year last year, he was trying to hit that home run like all the time. He was just trying to make that huge play. And I do think he got better at kind of taking what was in front of him this year. Now, it's one of the many things about quarterback that make it a very difficult thing to evaluate, because I don't want that totally taken away from him. Like the big game kind of hunting part of his game, I like that to a certain degree. Like I think there's a time and place where you got to do that. Like you got to be unafraid to push the ball down the field and try to extend the play and make something big happen. I just think in the NFL, if you're trying to do that like every drive and every play, you're gonna put yourself into more trouble than maybe it's worth. So it's, knowing how to pick your spots and developing some sort of a balance there is going to be important.
Yeah, whoever was talking, who brought up the Tom Brady thing last week? Talking about those guys when we were talking about Cam.
I can't remember. Maybe, I don't know.
Remember. Anyway, it was a great point, and it probably isn't made enough about Brady. Like I'll think back. Everybody thinks back to thinks about the Titans win over Brady. And
I think it was Corey. Now that I think
was it Corey?
Yep.
The time before that, the Titans went up there, having beaten Kansas City in the playoffs. And if you go back to that game, I swear that Tom Brady threw the ball downfield like 3 times. He just threw swing passes to Deion Lewis over and over and over again. The Titans were like, "Ooh, we got to sign that guy." But seriously, like it's like, oh, Brady, but it's just simple stuff here. Just okay, got a little extra space here. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take 4. I'll take 6. And that is so. And again, that's the type of thing that if that's the issue, okay, he'll figure that out, and he already is. There's evidence right here in this film study of him figuring that out and doing a better job of just being selective and picking those spots in certain situations. So I think there's a lot here definitely to like. The Cam Dews are all about this, but just the mechanical. The strike zone, whatever you want to call it, that's still that's a question to be answered, and maybe it's limiting. But if a lot of these things that we talk about get to where you hope they do, and especially the surrounding cast, then I think it's going to look a lot better.
Well, and it gets into, again, as we discussed last week, something that I think is important, but is not a tangible thing, and that's the mental toughness. Baumgartner talks about, being firmly against taking Ward at number 1 in the 2025 draft, not necessarily because he didn't think he was great, but because of the roster that the Titans had. And he says, quote, "What I underestimated was Ward's mental toughness. I knew he had talent, natural feel for the position that few share, but I thought the same about Bryce Young when he left Alabama and he collapsed, mostly due to poor coaching and a weak supporting cast." Now, it's interesting because Young is kind of risen back up to a certain degree and is hanging in there, and we'll see. But it's another observation of how mentally tough Cam Ward is. And that's important. Again, I've said that it's important, but I need some actual attributes of playing the position that are tangible to go along with that mental toughness.
Yeah.
You need to start to see those this year.
Physical excellence to go with the mental toughness. But yeah, I think, but that is, it's definitely something that everybody can see, and it is a good thing. You hope that Cam doesn't have, because like year 2, even for Bryce Young, it was just like, you hope it's different than that.
Well, he got benched in year 2.
Yeah. And again, it's credit to him for hanging in there. And I mean, they got to the playoffs last year, and he did some pretty good things, and they have improved the people around him for sure. That's been a big part of it. But yeah, you hope that year 2 for Cam is more like that year, right? That they've done enough here to help him out.
It is interesting. They're both 24, same age.
Yeah. Very different
paths.
Yeah. You're talking about number 1 recruit guy. He's going to play 3 years of college versus wing T, 0-star guy, which again, I mean, that's the type of stuff that probably serves Cam well at this point, but it's just a matter of, there's a limit to what that can do for you.
While we're on the subject of the Carolina Panthers, I think it's time that I stand up and recognize it's a big year for my guy, Xavier Legette.
Yeah,
it's time to show something. First year, rookie year, 49 catches, almost 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Not bad for a rookie. Last year, 35 catches, 363, 3 touchdowns. big year for my guy Xavier Legette.
Well, I mean, he's been minimized a little bit with some of the ads they've made, but yes,
he's got to break through.
The Low Country All-Star needs to hang in there, or maybe.
I mean,
could he not be a nice addition to this receiver?
Sure. I mean, I would take him no matter the situation. I don't care if you've got 15 receivers on the roster. I'd take him.
Ride that horse from Charlotte to here.
I mean, there's perhaps never been a player that, I guess wasn't directly associated with the University of Tennessee that I've wanted to succeed more than Xavier Legette.
I think that anyone who is familiar with him at all should feel the same way.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. We will wrap up the show. Come to the next. More of your thoughts to get to on the Titans, the Brady Tkachuk trade from Ottawa to Florida. An interesting week coming up for the Predators with the NHL draft later this week. We'll get your thoughts on all of it. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
compared to other quarterbacks, it's just not that much. He didn't do this in high school. He was a small school quarterback. It took him, some time. But the thing to remember also on top of that made him as special as he is he got better every year, every game across the board, all the way through college. And the bet was that was absolutely going to continue, when he got into the NFL. And it did. It's hard to see it because the team was so bad. But the fact that he played every snap, he was better at the end of the year than he was at the beginning. He was playing his best football when the year wrapped up. And he improved upon some of the things that you were looking at in terms of, okay, how quick is he with his processing? How much more consistent are his feet? Not perfect, but by the end of the year, you'd seen, significant growth, enough that I think if they continue to surround him with talent, they're going to have a real player on their hands. But, this is a process because Tennessee was bad, offensively. That's why the numbers, if you really dig into them, don't sparkle for Cam. And I think a lot of people might overlook him right now, but he's a talent, and I don't think that people should overlook him at all.
That was Bumgarner last week with DVD discussing Cam Ward and the film study article that we just brought up.
Man, I've been a catch as Cam can. I mean, he's pushing me to be a Cam do.
We
you guys don't even acknowledge my
How long
stupid...
are we gonna let Rexrode do this? Is this becoming a thing? Should we cut him off?
This is where Allison Stanley says, "Daddy, help Joe Rexrode, please."
Ian, the verdict. Are we a fan of the Cam Ward of the what are you doings and the Cam do's?
I think so.
You like it? Thank you.
I like
Ian.
it. Okay. I like it.
buddy.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't dislike it. I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, look at the
We
crap
could
he had to
probably do better, but
how many years did he have to deal with so much stupid crap from Stilly?
Well, I mean,
he's a very
I think the phrase that Ian just threw out there is probably the tagline for our show. Well, we could probably do better.
yeah, but
Hashtag
hashtag
is what it is.
Yeah. So I think there might be some Cam do's spawning from Nick's analysis there. He makes he makes compelling points. I mean, it is, and this is where some people, seriously though, whatever you want to call yourself, if you don't like what are you doing, whatever. But if you're a hater, if you're just out on Cam, you're listening to that and you're saying, "Oh, good, more excuses," And I think that's fair to a point, but it is 1 year with a bad team, and there were some good signs to go with the bad signs, and it's nice to have this because it really has been kind of pessimistic, a little bit leaning toward him. And it's just really fascinating. I mean, I really think what people should be is catches Cam cans, is just totally open-minded. We need to be open-minded. I could see this going wildly in either direction or ending up somewhere in between.
I got to tell you, is it bad as we sit here today on June the 22nd? I am very much looking forward to our show on September the 14th, which will be the day after the season opener for the Titans, because there's just a whole laundry list of things that are going to make it ripe for takes. Like, first off, there's the whole, hey, they're playing the New York Jets and they suck type thing. And then there's the Saleh going up against his former team. But it's also Ward. Like, if Ward comes out and plays terribly in that first game, boy, we're going to have some takes on this show that day, right? Like, people are going to be like, oh, so they just lost to the Jets and your number one overall pick was terrible in game one. Like, the September 14th program has a chance to be a doozy on this trail.
Yeah, well, it does. It does. And I hate to put everything on a game like that. It's not everything, but that is a really important game.
Yeah. For a lot of reasons.
For him, for Saleh, et cetera, et cetera. Also, man, now that you mention it, what September 14th?
That's a long way off.
Mid-September? Because Labor Day is September 7th, right? Is that, or September, whatever.
It's
like the worst possible, latest possible. Does camp not start till August then?
It is late July. It is later
it's always
than
late
usual.
July.
I think it's even maybe a week later.
They got to get
normal.
ready.
Like 29th?
Yeah, I think that's what it is already. I really do. Like most years.
Well, that's what we need. We need more camp. We need more training camp.
Yeah, please, man. God.
Preseason. Taking away one of those games from us. So we got to get a little bit more practice time in.
I mean, we're almost 3 months away from this day still.
Yeah.
Alexi Lalas, help us. Calgon, take us away. Nick Frazier's texting me clips of Alexi Lalas. That word. Can we say that word?
I don't think so.
that starts with a W.
Apparently, you cannot say it on British TV.
Well, right. Apparently, on British TV, it's like a huge,
That's a big
like,
no-no.
whoa.
FCC violation.
Yeah. That almost sounds like. Did you see the Linda Cohn thing?
No, I did
She
not.
tried to do a catchphrase. You know, Rich Eisen's news is this was Sports Center.
Yeah.
She tried out a catchphrase about someone who's a really good hitter. He's a master batter. And immediately ESPN caller said, "Do not ever say that on the air again. Ever." Okay, sorry. That's a little bit like what Lawless apparently said, but he said farting too?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I don't think that part actually happened.
Oh, okay. He just said the
just said the other one. Yeah.
I mean, he seriously the other day was like, they were like all this analysis, and he was just like, kind of paraphrasing, like, "Australia stinks. We own them. Yeah." And it was like, "Thank you, Alexi." And we'll head to break now. But I'm kind of fascinated. Like, I'm kind of in on it. This is helping distract me from the fact that we have almost 3 months until the NFL starts.
I'll find out again when the United States is playing on Thursday.
So you have not. I'm telling you, Katie is actually even like, "What game's on?" I'm like, "Okay, let's put the sports on the television."
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, first of all, there have been some really good games, but also even just sort of as a background thing, a little soccer on. No,
golf
you're
channel,
not there. That's true. Your background thing is golf. That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. So
That's
someone.
my
text,
background nowadays is like, what's Allison watching? Oh,
Yeah.
cool, great.
That's true.
Put that on.
Yeah, Francis the Fish.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a thing. Probably not. But someone compared this to a golf commentator. Can you?
Oh,
can you
Brandel
share that
Chambly.
with us?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a blowhard.
Yeah.
Says a bunch of weird stuff a lot. So it's
Okay.
like, maybe pretty similar.
Okay. Yeah, because you were like, "Oh, I get it now." So what's the name?
earlier this year-
Brandel Chambly.
Yeah, I think earlier this year he's like, "Yeah, Scotty kind of sucks now." It's like, "Oh, really? Does he?" Okay.
That's all. That was the whole analysis.
Thanks.
There's some effectiveness there.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brandel.
That's going to do it for us today on the program. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their Monday. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.